This is Cleveland Health, the show that tackles health issues that matter most to our neighborhoods. Each month, we bring you powerful stories, expert insights, and real resources to help you and your family live healthier, stronger lives. Join us as we dive into what's shaping the health of Cleveland today so we can all try to make a difference together. Welcome to Cleveland Health. I'm Richard Stewart. Thank you for being with us. Here's what we're working on for this episode of Cleveland Health.
Chest up nice and tall, and you want to go down to that invisible chair. So sit.
No gym? No problem. We explore indoor workouts and separate fact from fiction so you can know what your body really needs, especially during the winter months.
And they ran some tests and it showed I was having a heart attack.
Plus, he was only 29 years old when his heart gave out. One heart attack survivor's wake-up call and what you can learn from his story this American Heart Month.
It's the law of the land. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations.
And an emotional celebration as Tanisha's Law takes effect in Cleveland. After a family's decade-long fight, the law now aims to bring a more compassionate response to mental health emergencies in our city. Let's start with debunking some myths about exercise during the winter season. I visited Royally Fit, a gym on East 40th Street here in Cleveland. You know, with winter in full swing, some of us are noticing the scale creeping up just a little bit, but is winter weight gain inevitable? Here to separate fact from fiction is fitness expert Prince Pempton. Prince, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Fact or fiction, does cold weather slow your metabolism?
So it is fiction. So what happens is your body actually tries to stay warm during the wintertime, so your metabolism slightly picks up. Think of your body as a furnace. So in the wintertime, your furnace works harder to keep your house warmer. So think about when you shiver. That's your body's way of keeping you warm. So you're in a house more and you're moving less. So in the wintertime, your metabolism actually picks up, but us not being active makes it slow down.
Fact or fiction, people need to eat more comfort food during the winter months.
That is fiction. So the National Institute of Health, according to them, they show that our cravings for comfort food actually increases. So we tend to go to that mac and cheese. So grabbing the mac and cheese is going to end up getting that back bigger. So what you can do is plan ahead. So try to make alternative changes to what you're consuming. So instead of French fries, go towards like roasted vegetables. And you also got to consider the holiday treats. Try to avoid those or cut back because you don't have to sacrifice the food you enjoy. Just, make some small changes.
Okay, fact or fiction, people need to attend a gym in order to stay fit during the winter months.
This was gonna hurt to say, but that is fiction. So your body is your gym because you got squats, you got lunges, you got push-ups, you got planks. So there are so many exercises that you can do to keep your body moving. So the National Academy of Sports Medicine, who I'm certified through, according to them, bodyweight exercises are extremely efficient. So don't let not going to the gym prevent you from being active.
Okay, fact or fiction, strength training boosts your metabolism and thereby takes the weight off.
So that is a fact. So your muscles are little furnaces. So adding muscle onto your body increases your metabolic rate. So that's how much calories you're burning when you're not even doing anything. So it's beneficial to work out at least 2 times a week to maintain muscle growth and also increase muscle growth. And that applies to men and women. So I know women tend to avoid lifting weights and they think they're going to get bulky, but that's not true. So adding muscle helps your metabolism increase. So it increases your metabolic rate. So that allows you to burn calories when you're just doing daily activities.
Okay, and final question, fact or fiction, you can't get enough vitamin D without the sun, so why bother?
That is fiction. So during the winter times, our access to vitamin D does decrease, which can lead to fatigue, mood changes, and weight gain. And there's different ways you can get vitamin D. You can supplement it safely. You have mushrooms that have a high amount of vitamin D. You also have fortified cereals and plant-based milks have a source of vitamin D. So don't allow the sun not being available to prevent you from getting your recommended amount of vitamin D.
Great advice, Prince. But we're here in your own training gym. I understand you brought with you some exercises to share with our viewers to show them how to keep that weight stable during the winter.
So I got 3 exercises that we're gonna get into, but before we get into it, I got a bonus fact. Muscle weighs the same as fat, and fat weighs the same as muscle. 5 pounds of fat is 5 pounds of muscle, 5 pounds of muscle is 5 pounds of fat. So basically, muscle takes up less space than fat.
So show us your exercises.
So we got 3 exercises that are simple exercises. First thing we're gonna do is a squat. So the benefit of the squat is gonna work your quads, core, and your balance. So to get you set up for the squat, we're gonna go from the bottom up. So you're gonna plant your feet and then your foot as a tripod. So big toe, little toe, heel. Make sure they're planted in the ground because you wanna get your base. Next, we're gonna work up to the knees, soften the knees, and now you want your hips underneath your shoulder. Now soften the knees, now chest straight up, shoulders back. You wanna brace your core, not squeeze your core, but brace your core. Let's push it out, make sure it's firm. So feet width apart, soften the knees, you wanna go down to an invisible chair. Drop down to that invisible chair. Now you wanna drive your feet into the ground and then push right back up. Simple squat.
And what's number 2?
So next exercise we're gonna do is a push-up shoulder tap. So we're gonna get you set up. You're gonna place your palms on the bench or the floor, shoulder width apart. Make sure your chest is between your hands. You want your wrist, elbow, and shoulder all in alignment. So once you have your palms planted on the ground, take it 2 big steps back, feet straight back, toes on the ground. So now, soften the elbows, drop your chest between your hands, push back up, and now you wanna raise your left hand and touch your right shoulder. Bring the hand back down, go back to that push-up, push it up. Now take your left hand and touch that right shoulder. So every time you raise your hand, you engage your core. So you're working your chest, core, shoulders, and triceps.
That sounds tough.
It's doable, not tough, but doable.
Tell me about number 3.
So number 3, we're going to do a mountain climber. So you wanna stay in that push-up position, hands shoulder width apart, chest between the hands, legs extended back. But now with this one, you wanna drive your knees up to your chest like you're running. So this is a good cardio exercise. It's gonna work your core, arm, shoulder, chest, and get your heart rate up.
That sounds great. Well, Prince, thank you so much for sharing this valuable information with us. We can all use it right about now.
Yes, no problem. So make sure that you watch your portion sizes with the comfort foods and stay active during these winter months.
Still ahead here on Cleveland Health, changing the way Cleveland responds to mental health emergencies.
And so you have my commitment as your mayor to get this implementation right for the city of Cleveland.
A decade after she died in police custody, Tanisha's Law ushers in a more compassionate response when someone is experiencing a mental health crisis.
This year we have had an unacceptable number of fire deaths in Cleveland, and most could have been prevented by working alarms. We want to remind the public of the importance of working alarms and to ask residents and businesses to help us save lives. Hello, I'm Lieutenant Mike Norman from the Cleveland Division of Fire.
And I'm Vaughn Miller, retired Deputy Fire Chief and now with the Western Reserve Fire Museum and Fire Safety Education Center right here in Cleveland.
With the support of the American Red Cross, Cleveland firefighters install hundreds of smoke alarms every year. Residents can receive free smoke alarms by calling 216-361-5535. But firefighters know that smoke isn't the only danger facing our residents.
Carbon monoxide, also known as CO or the silent killer, is a colorless, odorless gas that can build up inside your home due to a malfunctioning gas furnace or poorly ventilated gas appliance or fireplaces. If undetected, too much carbon monoxide in an occupied space can be fatal.
The best way to protect your family from carbon monoxide poisoning is to have a working CO alarm installed within the home. That's why Cleveland Fire is partnering with the Fire Museum to make combination CO smoke alarms available to Cleveland residents. But we need your help.
The Fire Museum is collecting tax-deductible donations to purchase combination CO smoke alarms to be installed by Cleveland firefighters across the city. If you or your company wish to donate, please visit our website, wrfmc.com, or call 216-664-6626 for more information.
Cleveland Fire wants to thank the Fire Museum for their partnership and thank you for your support in making Cleveland safer for everyone.
Hi, I'm Kate Connor-Morin, the director of Cleveland 311. One of the great things about Clevelanders is that we take pride in our city. Letting the city know about problems is one simple way to look out for your neighborhood. When you see something that needs attention, for example, a pothole, a missed trash pickup, graffiti in a city park, or problems with a building in your neighborhood, there's one easy number to remember. 311 is your connection to city services, the City of Cleveland's central, non-emergency hotline and website that provides easy access to city services and information. Whether you live here, work here, or are just visiting, our goal is to make it easier for you to report non-emergency issues either online or by phone. You can dial 311 or visit us online at clevelandohio.gov/311, and we'll make sure your request gets on the right path. If you submit your request online, you can create an account and track the status of your requests. This is your city, and with 311, you can help make Cleveland better for all of us.
Welcome back to Cleveland Health. I'm Richard Stewart. A major step forward in Cleveland's approach to mental health and public safety is now officially law, and is called Tanisha's Law. Supporters say this will change how the city responds to people experiencing mental health crises, shifting the focus toward care, prevention, and community-based intervention. I was at Case Western Reserve University School of Law for the emotional celebration.
I'm sorry that it took 12 years to get the change you've been fighting too damn hard for.
Those words from Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb set the tone for a long-awaited moment at Case Western Reserve University School of Law, where city leaders, advocates, and family members gathered to celebrate the signing of Tanisha's Law. The legislation is named after Tanisha Anderson, who died in 2014 during a police encounter while experiencing a mental health crisis. For her family, the ceremony marked the culmination of more than a decade of advocacy.
So if I say I'm happy, as exhilarated, all that would be true. But I know there's going to be some days coming ahead here soon where I'm just going to just reminisce and say, wow, after 12 years, it's finally here. It's just unreal.
Anderson says the emotions of the day are layered, joy mixed with reflection after years of pushing for change.
When something says no, God says yes, but the waiting period in between, that's where it burns, ain't it?
With the signing of Tanisha's Law here at the Case Western Reserve University School of Law, the bill is now official city policy. Leaders say it's about accountability and prevention, protecting Cleveland families and preventing a future tragedy. Now the focus shifts to implementation and impact. Tanisha's Law establishes a new Bureau of Crisis and Community Response. It's designed to shift certain emergency calls away from police and toward professionals trained to respond to mental health crises.
It's incumbent upon me to make sure that they see me as the mayor of the city, leader of the city, give them their due in apologizing for what happened, but also my commitment to right the wrong.
With the law now signed, city leaders say the work is just beginning.
We're gonna be aggressive about it. We wanna make sure that we get this thing off to the right start by hiring the right new leader for the new Bureau of Crisis and Community Response. And so we're working hand in glove with City Council to make sure we meet the moment and get it right. But I'm confident that we will be a national model in the country around alternative crisis response in terms of public safety and mental health.
City Councilman Stephanie Howes Jones, a key supporter and sponsor of the legislation, calls the moment historic.
So In my 11-year journey as an elected official, this by far is number one. It is something like I said, just being able to work so intimately with community members to get and move colleagues who didn't believe to now see like this has its place in our community to elevate how we are serving people when it comes to crisis response. And it's amazing, and I'm looking forward to continuing the work because it's not just passing the legislation, it's actually in the implementation, and that's what we're going for.
Tanisha's Law creates a Bureau of Community Crisis Response within Cleveland EMS. A deputy commissioner will coordinate response efforts along with public safety, public health, and other city departments. I sat down with EMS Commissioner Orlando Wheeler, who says the groundwork is already being laid. Today I'm joined by Orlando Wheeler. He's Commissioner of Cleveland EMS. Commissioner, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump right in. Where do we stand on Tanisha's Law today?
Well, today, City Council recently approved the ordinance for Tanisha's Law, and we are ready to jump in.
So let's break down what the law is supposed to do. First up is mandatory crisis intervention training, correct?
Correct.
And how is your department implementing that today?
Well, we are currently, all of my management, include middle management, and our dispatchers and dispatch sergeants have all had a version of crisis intervention training.
And the second piece is the co-response. Explain how that works and where you stand on that today.
Okay, the co-response is when we pair a paramedic and a mental health crisis worker to respond to these calls for individuals in crisis or following up with individuals who have been in crisis to make sure that they're receiving the resources that they need.
I have to ask on behalf of Clevelanders who might be wondering why should they still believe that this department is committed to real reform? Because it's been a number of years since Tanisha Anderson's death. There's been a lot of ebb and flow in terms of fixing the system. So what say you?
Well, that's a good question. Well, we are committed. This is something that I've been passionate about and working on in the background since 2023. And now since this ordinance has passed, we are ready to make sure that Clevelanders are receiving the care and the interventions that they need for individuals in crisis to not only be safe, but to receive the resources that they need to remain that way. And we here in the division of EMS, we have always been committed to making sure that individuals in crisis receive everything they need and then.
How confident are you today that this is going to work for Clevelanders? I mean, this has been implemented in cities like Denver, Colorado, Eugene, Oregon. What can Cleveland do to emulate their success?
Well, what I don't want to emulate anyone's success. I want to step out on my own and show that our version is not only more robust, but a full circle approach to everyone's wellness when it comes to dealing with individuals in mental health crisis or also suffering from any type of substance abuse.
Well, Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us and answering those important questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here on Cleveland Health, he was just 29 years old when he suffered a heart attack.
And I did survive a massive heart attack due to a cholesterol level of 475.
Now, Sam Pruitt is sharing his powerful story as a reminder during American Heart Month. What he tells us he's doing with a second chance at life, and what he says everyone can learn from his story. That's coming up next. In Cleveland, healthy futures begin lead-free. Our city's lead-safe law was created to protect children, but the numbers tell us we must do more and do it faster. That's why Cleveland is stepping up. We're building and repairing homes to make them more safe, replacing hundreds of lead-contaminated windows and investing more than $110 million in housing initiatives. We're demolishing high-risk properties that threaten neighborhoods, and we've already completed over 600 demolitions. We've certified more than 24,000 rental units, increased testing so children are identified earlier, and supported over 1,000 families already affected by lead. And we're moving faster, adding inspectors, expanding partnerships, and using smarter data to reach the most vulnerable families. The bottom line, Cleveland, is fighting to end lead poisoning because every child deserves a safe, healthy home. Learn more at leadsafecle.org. Welcome back to Cleveland Health. I'm Richard Stewart. Every February is American Heart Month, which includes National Wear Red Day to raise awareness about heart disease, the leading cause of death for both men and women in our country and here in Northeast Ohio. I sat down with Sam Pruitt, who's using his very personal story to help others take proactive steps to protect their heart and overall well-being. Sam, thank you for joining us. Let's jump right in. You experienced a heart attack at just 29 years old. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I was actually out for a run with Run with the Winners, which is a local running group here. And it was like any other day. I was usually a runner. I ran days before that, but this day was different because when I was at Edgewater, when I ran up the Edgewater Hill, things were just a little bit different for me and I couldn't catch my breath. And that was weird for me. A friend of mine actually saw me in distress and she went to get help. And when she went to get help, I got on the ground thinking I could regain my composure. It didn't work. So eventually, when the EMS truck came, they put me in the EMS truck and they ran some tests and it showed I was having a heart attack. But I said, listen guys, if you run it again, I promise it'll be okay. They did, everything came back 100% normal. Yet they still took me to the hospital and they ran some tests and found out that I actually had a 95% blockage in my right coronary artery, and I did survive a massive heart attack due to a cholesterol level of 475.
Wow, that's amazing. In hindsight, were there any risk factors that maybe you didn't catch or should have caught?
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say I knew I had high cholesterol since the 8th grade. It's a genetic ailment for me, and I didn't take it seriously. So I just continued to live my life as I did. When I got to 26, I went to the doctor, and the doctor actually looked me in the eye and said, you won't live to see 30 years old.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, right, I'm 26, I'm active, I play pickup basketball, I play football, I was skinny, no way this could be true. And that doctor was almost right.
What were the biggest challenges you faced in your recovery and rehabilitation?
So I had to go through cardiac recovery after the heart attack, and I was already an athlete. Again, the heart attack was more of a wake-up call. So when I was in cardiac recovery, they slowed me down for the first time ever. They said, hey, you can't run 4 miles per hour on a treadmill, you gotta run 2. But what that did was actually allow me to get used to the new stent that was placed in my chest. Also in cardiac recovery, I learned about food labels. And the most sobering thing was realizing what's in food. We don't realize how much salt is in food, how much saturated fat is in food, trans fat. These are the things that really impact us on the inside, and they don't hurt, so we don't know until it's too late.
That brings me to my next question. What major lifestyle changes did you undergo following your heart attack?
So one of the favorite things I got as a Christmas gift was an air fryer. So now I'm an air fryer sous chef. So some of those favorite foods I had, like French fries, I was able to cook those in the air fryer. Anything fried, I stayed away from the deep grease because that's where the real issue is. So being able to put that in the air fryer, I could still enjoy my favorite food. So I just had to really change my lifestyle, which was hard at first because in our community, we're so used to soul food and other things that are just so delectable. But I had to let some of those go and just really practice moderation. And what I've found is you can have moderation without misery.
What's your message to younger people and adults in our community when it comes to the risk of heart disease?
Break generational curses. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we may know we have high cholesterol, like I did. Again, I've had high cholesterol since the 8th grade, didn't take it serious. People know they have high blood pressure, diabetes, but they don't follow up with the doctor. So my advice is to go to the doctor. Know what's going on because there's a battle going on inside of you that you have to know how to fight. So take those health ailments serious. Whenever a family member says, hey, my blood pressure is high again, ask questions about that around the dinner table so you can know how to address your own health issues.
So today is National Wear Red Day. I see you've got your red hoodie on and your pocket square. Why is encouraging folks and raising awareness so important to you?
So when it comes to Wear Red Day, we wear red to bring awareness to heart disease, and heart disease is the #1 killer for African Americans. And the thing is, we may hear this, we may know it, but a lot of people, we don't think it'll happen to us. Again, Exhibit A, I didn't think any of this would ever happen to me. I didn't think I would be here right now talking about this. So I want to bring awareness by wearing my red so people can know, hey, listen, you aren't immune to this. This could really happen to you. So when you bring awareness, that's knowledge, and we know knowledge is power, and power to the people.
What's the one action people in Northeast Ohio can take today to improve heart health?
Definitely watch what you eat, read food labels. I know it can be a little difficult because when you read a food label, it sounds like a science project. It's so many things on there that you've never heard of. It's still some things that I can't pronounce on the back of these food labels, but really be conscious of what you're eating, how often you're eating it. Because again, the thing is, in my experience, and with the doctors that I've talked to, they say, hey, you might not want to eat this, you might want to do this. You want to listen to your doctor, but listen to your doctor as a guideline. You work with your doctor most definitely to know what your diet should be like. So sometimes some of those things that you may eat, they might be something that you just celebrate and you don't eat every day. So just really be conscious of what you're eating and just don't eat it mindlessly because it can save your life.
So I understand you've told your story in a book.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, Plus More Life, A Heart Strong Story is my debut book coming out on my 40th birthday. So it plays on when the doctor said, you won't live to see 30. I'm turning 40, and my gift to the world and to the people is talking about my story. I chronicle my life, how my family's from the South, those foods that we ate, how knowing family history is important, again, knowing what ailments that you're dealing with and how you can find those things out. And I'm not perfect, I admit that. So even when I slip, I talk about how I get back on things, how to set smart goals, but overall, it's just my story and an effort to help other people be heart strong. And that's what I call protecting your heart and everything in it. And what that means is people who are near and dear to your heart, think about those people when you protect yourself. Because if you just think about yourself, you might not go to the doctor, but when you think about your family who needs you here in the moments that matter, then you'll go to the doctor and then you'll take care of yourself.
Well, I can't wait to read it. Sam, thank you for sharing your story and raising awareness in our community about the importance of heart health.
Absolutely, anytime.
American Heart Month also includes National Wear Red Day. It serves as a reminder that prevention starts with education and action. Residents are encouraged to schedule routine checkups, monitor blood pressure and cholesterol levels, stay physically active, and maintain a heart-healthy diet. For more information about heart disease prevention and local resources, you can visit your healthcare provider or reach out to the Cleveland Department of Public Health. Find that information at clevelandhealth.org. We'd like to hear from you. Your experience matters. You can share your personal health journey and the tools or programs that have made a difference in your life by contacting us at clevelandhealth.org. If you're interested in having your story covered on TV20's Cleveland Health, email us at tv20@clevelandohio.gov. That concludes this edition of Cleveland Health on TV20. Thank you for watching. We hope that you learned something that can help you or a loved one live a happier, healthier life. I'm Richard Stewart. We'll see you next time.